Hello, this is Bonga Dada Bonga, Bonga Dada Bonga, Bonga Dada Bonga Dada Bonga Dada Bonga. All right, as you well know, we're just a few episodes into the new year, and this, in fact, is our first show in the month of February. But I'm still going to say Happy New Year to you. I am, and yours truly, Bonga Dada Bunga, along with Teresa Kemp, who is out at the moment. Okay. And what we do on the show from time to time, host, host and anchors. So we're in the process of training others how to be a online personality. So we're bringing in various people to be on the show. And tonight we have with us a young lady by the name of Coach Rakaya. You're familiar with her. She's been on this platform before, but she's with us tonight as a co-anchor. As a co-anchor. Um, so we're having her in tonight, as I'm saying, as the co-anchor. She is a health and wellness coach. This beautiful lady is from a place that's called the Republic of Panama. So, coaches, our show feature tonight should be talking to us about Black history. Okay, let me say that she is a mother of seven. Would you believe? She also has seven grandchildren, and she is a Spanish instructor. And if you need to know Spanish, here's your teacher right here. You can sign up with her to do private lessons. She will be doing some lessons online through the Queen Mother Speak Show. But for now, if you need to get your Spanish on, take her number down. Give them your number, coach.
346 244 7887 +1 344 346 244 7887.
Very good. Thank you for that. And we'll be tuning in with her a little later on in the show. I want to give a shout out to our dear friends who are tuning in from West Coast Ghana. Hello to Mr. Gattimore. Hello to Nana. We have two Nanas. We have a Nana in Birmingham, but we also have, I'm sorry, a Nana in the US, but also we have several Nanas in Ghana that we're giving a shout out to tonight. There's also Aisha from Ghana. Hello to Miss Ernestine and Principal Malungu out of Namibia. And we're glad that all of you are here who's decided to come into the show today. All right? And once again, we have Rakaya in the studio as our co anchor for tonight. And we do have a video to show you if we can get it up. We've been trying, it hasn't worked so very well, but let's see what happens. So, one of the things that our co anchor Rakaya will be doing is she'll be telling us a little bit about who and what is Bonga Dada Bonga. All right, Coach.
Okay, Queen Mother, good morning to everyone. Great afternoon, good
Good
evening. It is indeed
morning,
a pleasure and an honor to be
my
on the
love.
show. What is Bonga Dada Bonga? A new platform for women's voices, a site point, a space that strives to amplify voices of women and survivors who have been historically silenced. Bonga Dada Bonga joins a growing list of organizations and supporters of women causes in countries across North America, Latin America, the Pacific Rim, and Africa. You will hear phenomenal, extraordinary, event heartbreaking stories of some of the most courageous, powerful, and inspiring women, girls, and some men
Mm-hmm.
too. You even meet each and every one of them as is a superhero. And at Bonga Dada Bonga, we are honored and proud to share their stories with you. Why is Bonga Dada Bonga important? To dispel the myths and misconceptions about what women roles are, what women can do, and in fact, what women around the globe are doing. It is an excellent opportunity to generate visibility. Back to you, Queen.
To generate visibility,
Oh,
familiarity.
all out.
understanding, comprehension.
Comprehension, realization, and support for women's aspirations, of which there are many, and promote awareness raising about women in many cultures from a diversity of cultures in Namibia, South America, Ukraine, Israel, Kenya, and other countries. Thank you for tuning in to Bonga Dada Bonga, a new platform for women's voices, every Thursday live at 11 a.m. New York, 7 p.m. East African time. Now back to you, Queen Mother.
Thank you our co-anchor for Bunga Dada Bunga tonight. And what I want you to get is how important it is to us for you to know what this show is about and why this show is each which they are. We cover the stories where they are, and we make contact with people in various ways. So if you know of women who shine a spotlight on them so that others can get to know who we are and what we are, because as you well know, in this world, some of the positions that women have to take based on what's going on in the world. A lot of people just don't believe that women should be in certain leadership roles, but we are. And we want to showcase for you who we are and where we are. So thank you for that, Coach. So now, the way the Bunga Dada Bunga show works, okay, is that we actually invite in women and men and influencers who are in what is considered in today's world influencers. They're influencers. They receive that title on their own based on the work that they're doing out there in the world. And they will be serving as anchors, co anchors, and get other people in on the show. So I'm here, in my opinion, as a correspondent, but our other correspondent, who is Teresa Kemp, is also out at this time. But what we do, how the show works, is the co host and the hosts themselves, they come from an array of various disciplines in life. Okay, they can be politicians, they can be teachers, trainers, they can be in the sports world, they can be publicists, okay, they can be writers. So they come from a very colorful spectrum of journalists and various people and educators. And what they do when they're on the show is they deliver their opinions and their commentary. And many times their opinions and their commentary may not be what the show Bonga Dada Bonga believes. So they'll always make that distinction when they're saying something that it is, their own belief or their own thought versus it being what the show represents. Okay. So the only other thing I would like to say to you is that so that's how the show works. We're training women to be personalities online. And we thank you, Coach, for being and sitting in and being with us tonight as a co anchor. I share with you right now some headline news. You know, this year is considered the Lunar New Year. And the Lunar New Year is a big celebration, said Mr. Zhang. He's saying prosperity. Another aspect to the Lunar New Year is that interesting. Families will come together during the Lunar New Year. They will eat feast and they will practice their various sign of abundance. Zhang said, but the fish is not finished since the leftovers are there to provide extra money, savings, or surplus for the new year. It's also important during the Lunar New Year for families to pay respects to the older generations. So this is what they do. Their Lunar New Year is actually celebrated for a complete week. And they have activities the entire week, very similar to how Kwanzaa is done. But this is not Kwanzaa, this is the Lunar New Year. And so they spend time to go and be with the elders, the young people, and the elders will be with the young people, and they normally pass on to them health tips and things about progressing for the new year. You see, your grandparents know who you are, and they can talk to you in a way that no one else usually can. It's very true. They talk to you in a different way. All right. So they're there to encourage you every year, year after year after year. Okay. They want to show their kindness to you, the elders, because they want you to learn how to be kind as well. So visiting with the elders is a very, very, the elders in the community, not just their own specific grandmother and grandfather, but in the community. It's a very important aspect, that aspect of community inside of the lunar calendar. Okay, so the family reunion signifies peace, abundance, and prosperity, and also carries people who are waiting for the community to come together. This is like an event that the people look forward to year after year after year, and day after day after day. They want to be a part of that celebration just the same way as we do for Kwanzaa. And I'm just now noting that the Lunar New Year being a week is sort of the same as Kwanzaa is, in that it too is for a year. So now, this year is called the Year of the Rabbit. What does the rabbit represent in the Chinese zodiac? There's 12 animals in the Chinese zodiac, and every animal have their own attributes and their own characteristics. And these 12 animals actually coincide with the lunar calendar every year. And I will give those to you now. It is a full, the 12 animals coincide with the lunar calendar, and it falls in a 12-year cycle. So again, this is the year of the
Rabbit.
rabbit. All right. So the way it goes down is the order of the Chinese zodiac is first there's the rat, there's the ox, the tiger, the rabbit, and in Vietnam, okay, the rabbit can be replaced by a cat because I don't know if they actually have rabbits, but we do know that
Oh,
they have cats. Then there's the dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, the dog, and the pig. Okay. Now, last year, 2022, was represented by the tiger, and the tiger and strength. So that's what the Chinese people, through their zodiac calendar, was saying to the people for last year. But this year, 2023, is the year of the rabbit. And people believe that people born in the year of the rabbit will carry some of the nature of the property of those animals. For the rabbit, people born in its year are seen as very caring, they're seen as attentive, they really pay a lot of attention to detail and like to follow rules. They're also said to be successful in their careers and good at making friends. So, there, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The lunar year, and this year, 23, it is the rabbit. And the symbol for the rabbit is that it is caring, nurturing, loving. All right, all right. So that is our news for you today. Wanted to share with you. See, there's different calendars in the world, and we only operate on the 12-month calendar, but there's the Gregorian calendar and other calendars. And I love the idea of what's happening in another country with the year of the rabbit. All right, so right now we're going to bring you our co anchor, Coach Rakaya, and she's going to be telling you a little bit about Black history. Okay, Coach.
Thank you, Queen. Black History Month is an annual observance originated in the United States. It is also known as African American History Month. It has received official recognition from governments in the United States and Canada, and more recently has been observed in Ireland and the United Kingdom. Significance to remember important people and events in the history of the African diaspora. African American history begins on February 1st, 2023, and ends Wednesday, March the 1st, 2023. It has been observed for 53 years. African American history is very critical because if we do not remember our past, we will continue to repeat and make mistakes. And our past assists us in understanding who and whose we are and the greatness that our ancestors and has left a legacy for us to carry on. Particularly these days, we really need African American history. Thank you, Queen. Back to you.
Hmm. And you know, I thank you too. And we're going to talk about Black history for a moment because we feel it's important that we all know the history of a people. And every people has a history. And when many of those people wind up living together in a particular region, whether it's in America, Africa, the South Pacific, our cultures began to intermingle. And we began to adopt certain things. For example, living here in Kenya, there is a food that's called a mandazi. And mandazi is a piece of bread that you fry in oil and it kind of blows itself up a bit. It's not sweet. It is tasty, but it's not necessarily sweet. And some people are saying that the mandazis actually comes from the Indians. But the Kenyans are saying, no, we were making those way before the Indians came along. Well, maybe they were, but they may have been making them a little different. And it's so interesting to see those similarities and the differences that exist between various cultures. But staying inside of the Black history, the theme of Black history for this year is called Black Resistance. Black Resistance. And what that does, it draws attention to how Black Americans have resisted oppression and how they oppression for centuries. And they've been resisting. This Black resistance has been happening in the arts, in public history, in American history, the Black press, and even in the Black church. This Black resistance. So, the Black resistance, once again, is how we've resisted being discriminated against in certain areas and with certain things. And before we complete tonight, Coach, I want you to tell us about any Black resistance that you may have come across in your specific area in health. And again, we're speaking of Black resistance, is that where you've had to resist oppression or you've had to resist any form of discrimination. So we'll talk with you about that a little later. But for this entire month of February, we will be bringing you narratives, accounts, depictions, portrayals, quotes, and storytellers. People talking to us on their refusal to accept oppression and the methods that they actually use to fight back. All right. Again, this is Bonga Dada Bonga coming to you live every Thursday, live at 7 p.m. Kenya time, 11 a.m. New York time. And if you're living in a different time zone, just find out what zone you're in and go ahead and put that notification on your phone So on your phone and on your PC, so that you can be tuned in to Bonga Dada Bonga. All right, so now when it comes to talking about Black resistant leaders, it's a lot of them. It really is. Everyone who took a stand in some way, right, was experiencing a form of Black resistance. Now, when we talk about who do we know who's resisted over the centuries and over the years, there are some people we all know. For example, who are some of the people we know right off the bat, Rakaya, that would fit into that?
Dr. Martin Luther King,
Dr.
uh,
Martin Luther King,
Malcolm X, Dick
Malcolm X,
Gregory, Dick Gregory,
Dick Gregory,
Dick Gregory,
Rosa Parks,
Rosa Parks, Dr. Sabi,
Maya Angelou,
Dr. Layla to Africa.
James
Um,
Baldwin.
it's been
It's been numerous. And
numerous.
even Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali,
Right.
Sting, fight like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I think that was one of his quotes. Uh,
Yes.
a thriller in Manila.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Muhammad Ali resisted. He
Yeah, there's been quite a
refused
few. But there's also been some people
and
who've
he
resisted.
stated his
Yeah.
reasons were since he was not treated as an equal citizen of America, then why should he fight for a country that has been unjust to him?
Yeah. They hadn't
Right
done
now,
anything
we
to
are having no, we're fighting a resistance because uh, so far this year they have killed 1,000 plus African American Black men have been killed under the hands of police brutality. And recently,
mm-hmm.
Tyree Nichols was killed last week and
Mm-hmm.
beaten by 5 African American police officers. So now we have a big
Mm-hmm.
situation going on in Memphis, Tennessee, the exact
Yes.
place where
Yeah.
Dr. Martin Luther King was murdered. Um, so
Mm-hmm.
the African Americans, as a collective, are demanding that the George Floyd bill be passed immediately.
Yes.
And so
Mm-hmm.
uh, Kamala Harris was at the funeral. She talked about injustice. And our Commander in Chief, President Biden, will be holding a State of the Union address where all the mothers that have experienced a death by murder by police will be present. And uh, President Biden is demanding that Congress do something now and pass the act. I'm really trying to give the benefit of the doubt to Biden because we have to understand that he came into a big mess,
Yeah.
a big mess. And nothing had been done for the last 8 years before he came in. And so I really need people to understand that half of the blame that is being put on President Biden really lies on the Republican side. I'm not for Democrat or Republican, but we have to be fair. And so you have to put everything in perspective. And so President Biden has come into something where he is unraveling, peeling off all of the atrocities that took place, all of the no work that took place, particularly with Social Security, where half the people did not get their monies that they were due. Social Security, unemployment, they have done nothing, particularly when COVID came, everything was thrown under COVID, due to COVID, due to COVID. In the meantime, there's a lot of suffering taking place in America. And so, yes, there is resistance and there will be resistance until justice, equality, and economic parity, and homelessness is eradicated or established.
Mm-hmm.
Justice.
Well, we have a lot to work on. We do indeed have a lot to work on.
You're breaking up, Queen Mother.
So once
You're breaking up.
again, day. Okay, thank you for that. Again, our focus today. There's a lot of people who've fought resistance that we know of, but there's many who we don't know of. And if you don't know of many of them, that's okay. We're all in the same boat. We don't know all of them, but this evening, what we would like to do is to present some of them to you during Black History Month. Okay? So now, there's people like Claudette Colvin, Alice Coachman, Eleanor Holmes Norton. You may not know any of their names. Those names may not ring a bell for you, but that's okay. You're not alone. And if their names don't ring a bell, I want you to know that they are educators, activists, historians, and they've been attempting to shine a light and pinpoint why so much African American history is missing from our nation's curriculum. It should be recognized that a large part, a very large part of America's notable history includes African American history, African innovation, and African creativity. So we're going to shine a light on some of those overdue figures who you may not know about, um, that are also those who have stood for and fighting against oppression and discrimination. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to share with you a story of one by the name of Shirley Chisholm, a statuesque, tall black woman by the name of Shirley Chisholm. Okay. Um, Congress right now in America is very diverse, but during the time of Madam Shirley Chisholm, it was not. She attempted to shatter the glass ceiling, and girlfriend met with a lot of resistance. Okay, a lot of resistance. This was during the contentious period of the late 60s. She, in fact, Miss Shirley Chisholm became the very, very first. Are you hearing me? She became the very first black woman elected to Congress. I especially wanted to talk about her on the Bonga Dada Bunga show because Bonga Dada Bunga is about Speak, Sister, Speak. Okay. She represented New York's 12th district from 1969 to 1983, quite a long period of time. And then in 1972, guess what else she did? Would you believe? Would you believe that Shirley Chisholm ran for president of the United States of America? Yes, she did. She ran on the Democratic Party ticket, and her campaign slogan was unbought and unbossed. Unbought and unbossed. And that statement rings even very, very, very loud today. Senator Kamala Harris paid tribute to Shirley Chisholm in her 2020 presidential campaign announcement because she used a similar slogan and a similar logo to Chisholm's. Once again, Shirley Chisholm, born in the year 1924 in Brooklyn, she served in the state assembly from 1965 to 1968, and of course, again, became the first black woman elected to Congress in 1968. 68 is a year that I personally was in high school. and I was attending a white high school in Birmingham, Alabama. That white high school Marilyn King, in fact, all right, had attended as the first black student to attend what was called at the time Jones Valley High School. And she went there for an entire year by herself. And you talking about resistance that we received as a family, as a black family at that particular time. Okay. And what would happen, just so you'll know, I didn't know any better, but as a child, when the weekends would come, often we would be sent to our grandmother's house. And of course, grandmother's house is always a great place to be because you can just play your heart out and you can just eat your heart out. And grandma always has a special kind of way to hold you, love you, help you get yourself dressed. And so we spend weekends there, not knowing what was going on in our community back in Birmingham because the sister was now attending an huh. We're talking about how we as a people have to fight for our rights. And often in fighting for our rights, it means that we have to come up against forms of discrimination. Okay, and Makaya's thinking of one discriminatory act that she's been involved with that she will be sharing with us just a little later on in the show. I want to go a little further and say that during this past week, we've had several phone calls that were made to us about the Bonga Dada Bonga show, and they were asking about the original tapes, the 20 tapes that we did, which were on the Kenyan women in politics. So, what we want to do with the Bonga Dada Bonga show is we want to begin, because you're asking to see those tapes. You want to see what those women had to say before, this is before the actual election. They were in the race. They threw their hat over the ring and they're in the race. So we'll be playing those historic tapes for you during the Bonga Dada Bonga show. We'll probably like to show anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes of those tapes. And then we'll have another presentation for you during that show, depending on what month we're in and what's going on in the world. For example, right now we're in the month of February, which is considered Black History Month. So we're going to talk to you about some unsung Black heroes, many of whom you may not have heard of. And the one we identified today is Madam Shirley Chisholm. Okay. Now, our plan for you today was to show a part of the video, but unfortunately, we've not been able to get that video up. And I'm going to say that it is my fault. And what I will do is it's not IT. It doesn't look like an IT issue. IT is acting very well, very good right now. So I think that the issue is something with something I'm supposed to do, right? All right. I will go to school and figure that out. So you shown in the past some of the previous videos, but here lately I haven't been able to get it to run. We'll see what the issues may be. All right. So on the second half of the show today, when we were planning to show the video, we were not going to attempt to show it because I haven't been able to get it up on the screen. Obviously, we cannot bring it and broadcast it out to you. But we're going to take this staying inside of Black history. And to talk about Black history, I want to talk about Black history as it relates to Africa. Living in Africa for many, many decades now, people often come to me and say, why do we need Black history? What is it really for? Why? We're in Africa. We know who we are, right? We don't need any Black history. And what we always make a point to say to them is that not only do you want to know your history, but you also want to know other people's history. Because when we understand history, then we don't get to repeat some of the errors that we've made in the past. Not only are there people in America wondering why do we have to have a Black History Day, but that's interesting. They don't ask why do you have an Asian history. They don't ask about Asian history. They don't ask about Jewish history. They don't ask about Filipino history. They don't ask about African history. But when it comes to the Black American history, they want to know why do they need to know? Well, this is my own opinion and not necessarily the opinion of Bonga Dada Bonga. But here's what I do know is because I have taken the time to study African American history. I'm also taking the time, and I'm talking years of study, African history. In fact, one of my very first degrees in African studies. Okay. And what I learned by studying as virtual training was when we actually went to a country and lived for a while. And of course, we've done a lot of that in terms of living in various countries. Okay. I think it's important for Africans on the continent, and I'm going to make a distinction because to make is continental Africans. That is Africans who were born on the continent and they still live on the continent. And then there's the diasporan African. The word itself, diaspora, means to be dispersed. And so the African in the diaspora are those Africans who were dispersed. And those are people like myself and Coach. We were our ancestors were dispersed from the continent of Africa into other countries around the world. We wound up working literally with the sweat off of our backs. Okay, so that's part of our history as a people living in America. And I think it's important that you understand my history because I've learned yours. I've understood about your wars. I'm keeping up with what's going on with the Mau Mau right now. We understand that here recently the government has decided that they are going to pay the Mau Mau. Many of those who have passed on, they will pass on some of those monies to their offspring who are still alive. And some of the offspring now are in their 80s and 90s. But Kenya is saying it is going to give reparations to the Mau Mau, not only the men, but also the women. So we've had people on the show who've come in and talked about that new Mau Mau Trust Fund and keeping up with it. Countries has been asking for their reparations, and they've been asking for it for a very, very, very long time. And for whatever reason, America seems to not to want to give it up. But yet we find that they are making um, monies available to other groups of people who've come into America, many of whom have never even paid into the Social Security system. So they find a way when they want to help you. But in the case of the African American, they seem to turn a blind eye and they turn their heads. It's just a blind eye. Okay. But we know, so I'm watching very closely what's happening with the Mau Mau here in Kenya, even as I'm watching very closely what's happening with the African American in terms of reparations, because we both, as two different groups, have undergone some of the same type of horrible treatment. some of the very same type of horrible treatment. We called it the civil rights. Kenya called it the Mau Mau movement. Okay, you use the name you use, and we use the name we use coming out of America. But what we want you to know is that these are two separate groups, two separate places in the world, and they both are owed reparations. In fact, I will say to you, and I'll post it on my site, California, as a state in America, has decided that they will pay reparations to the African Americans living in California. All right. And but I'm sure they got some tricky way for you to prove that in fact you are African American. But when they paid the Asians, when they gave money to the Kosovos, they didn't have to prove anything. They just handed it out. But now they want us to do a song and a dance to get money that's already 400 years old. Shame. Shame. I say shame. However, it's good that reparations is in fact on the table. It is being talked about. One of my sisters, going back to Shirley Chisholm, who used to live in New York, right? I knew her very well. She, in fact, she worked in her campaign for a number of years while she was living in New York City. Um, I've asked her to come into the chat room and share with us some of the things that she learned as she was working under the one and only fabulous Shirley Chisholm. So far, it hasn't come in. She's in a time zone that's 14 hours. We're 14 hours ahead of them. They're in Hawaii right now, and we are 14 hours ahead. So hopefully they'll get up in enough time, okay, and come on in and join us and talk to us about. I don't know very many people who knew Shirley Chisholm, considering she was born in 1924. But here's a person I personally know that knew her. So let's see if they will come into the studio and share with us what they remember from one by the name of Miss Shirley Chisholm. Okay, so right now this is Bonga Dada Bonga, and we are talking about Black history and the Black history theme, which is called Black Resistance. And we're talking about how Black people have opposed over centuries of time. Okay, how they've really just opposed um, being segregated against. All right, so that's where we are right now in the Bonga Dada Bonga show. Forgive us once again for not having the video clip ready for you, but by next week we'll be on it. We will be on it. We'll find out everything we need to find out about it for next week. Uh, Something else, as we have a little extra time because we're not showing the video, there's something else that I want to talk about before Coach comes along and give you the mentions or the announcements. I want to mention how that inside of this reparations, have you thought about that? How is that really going to happen? What formula are they going to use? How are they going to choose who's even going to receive it? How will they decide the amounts? All of this is part of what reparations is really, really, really all about. I mean, for those people who've expired already, who still have to be taken care of, how are we going to do all of this? How is that going to happen? I would love to be on a committee that's a think tank. I'd love to be a part of a think tank that's submitting ideas to those who will be making the decisions around reparations. But I'd like to see a think tank formed and pulling in ideas from people like myself and yourself about how this reparations is going to happen. I do believe it's going to happen. I don't know if it'll happen in my lifetime, but I do believe, I really do believe that it is going to happen. Coach? Do
Um,
you have any experiences in your life, okay, of Black resistance? And remember how we're defining Black resistance.
well, I remember my first experience in encounter with racism was when we were living in Rhode Island, and we used to go up to Boston, and we were in a particular area, and we were nearly almost attacked. Uh, there was a certain area in Boston that you could not visit. We later understood in the mid '80s you were not allowed to be in certain areas in Boston. That's how thick the situation
Mm,
was, and we had to really stand up and fight for our lives. Um, Luckily, I was with my husband and my children, so yeah, yeah, we had to resist, and I've always had to stand up and fight. It has always been a struggle for whatever that I have obtained in America. It has
mhm,
always been some form of resistance. It's always some form of struggle to demand, to ensure that my family is taken care of, and that we're getting proper health care, and you know it's always, we're all in resistance. Living in America, it's always a struggle. Queen,
mm, mm.
yeah.
Yes, I am noticing how that I'm picking up some chats in the chat room, but when I post them, they are not posting. Okay, let me try this one. See if it'll come through. Okay, so that one comes through, but I'm trying to post it that's saying bonga da bonga. Oh, that one came through. All right. Well, I can't explain what's.
And Facebook has been harassing me. Uh, Yesterday, what they did was they shut down my page. I was not able to post, was not able to wish my granddaughter a happy birthday. They claimed was some authentication. They tried to get me to create a new page. I refused. They demanded that I send them my passport. I mean, it's every now and then, and it was right in the middle of uh, the programming of Tyree Nichols' funeral. My page was shut down,
Ooh.
unable to get into the page. Um, I was under Gloria Murphy. I had almost 4,000 followers, um, and all of a sudden they disabled my page. I have yet to recover that page. So this is why
Mm.
I recreated another one under Rakia Murphy. But they are just haggling at me for like when Roland Martin is showing is news and I'm commenting, a little note comes up, community standards. It gets to be, it's very aggravating. And the only reason why I resist and continue to insist on being on the page is because a lot of people lives are dependent upon it, you know. And I try as much as I try to be cautious and not put any
Mm.
funny business on the page, the fact that I am uh, advocating that people can heal themselves, and that if they only change the way that they eat, if they only change their routines, simple little things, right? But it's not so simple, is it? Because just
Mm.
because I'm giving
No, it's not.
their own their own European books to substantiate what I have said. It's not even Dick Gregory book
Hmm.
or Paul Goss or Dr. Sadie's book. I'm utilizing within the construct of intellectualism. Their own doctors are stating these very things that I speak about, and I am still being harassed.
Mm. Mm.
And it's frustrating.
Very frustrating.
Very, very annoying. But I will
Hmm.
continue within the confines of what I'm hoping that it's within their confines to adhere to. I just hope that we get our own engine. my hope, my prayers and my hope is that African American bright students will come along and create their own Facebook. Voila.
Well, it's a matter of creativity, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'm with you. I hope someone comes up with that. That would be absolutely great, grand, and wonderful.
Because
Okay, so we,
I'm not the only one that they're harassing. They're harassing Roland Martin. They're harassed a lot of people. A lot of people are talking about it now. So I'm not the
ah,
only one that's being harassed.
okay, 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 very well, very well. Well, let's continue to talk about what it is that's going on and bring awareness to it. And before you know anything, you'll find a lot of others who's sharing that same awareness, and then something begins to happen. Something
Okay, so I
begins to
want to
happen.
bring the announcements.
Thank you.
Soul Vegetarian Restaurant. The phone number is 0742-654-810. Cooking classes are available. Lucille's Kitchen, sweet potato pie, and other mouth-watering treats. The phone number is 0732-567-327. Let me repeat that again. Lucille's Kitchen, sweet potato pie, and other sweet treats. 0732-567-327. Bonga de la Bonga, tomorrow, Thursday at 7 p.m. Kenya time, 11 p.m. New York time. Check it on Facebook for Bonga Dada Bonga. Depository Miss Aisha Dafala, Kenya's blood ambassador, reminds you to please visit Depository Bank near you and donate blood. Blood is needed in Kenya. Kenya needs it.
And blood is needed everywhere around the world.
And blood
So
is
we're going
needed
to
globally.
invite each of you to take the time to go visit. Yeah.
The enlightenment for bliss, discipline practices, oh, I think discipline practices that strengthen our ability to weather challenges. Here is the free link: http dot dot backslash backslash BLISSIPLINE life slash. Let me say that again: http dot
Colon,
backslash
http colon,
colon
http colon, slash slash,
backslash BLISSIPLINE life
dot,
life dot life backslash. If you
http colon, backslash, backslash, blissipin dot life backslash. And that's a free workshop by psychologist Mary Cordelia that she's made available to Bonga Dada Bonga. And it's a beautiful workshop. You may want to check it out sometime yourself, even coach if you have time. And everybody on those chats is very similar to some of the work that you do, where they're dealing with whatever their issues are.
okay, and every Tuesday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York City, I offer a diabetes, cardiovascular, peer support management group where we come together to support each other in managing the diabetes, uh, ensuring that we're following in our routines, and discuss some of the challenges that you may face when dealing with the challenge of the diabetes. Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
So the next meeting will be next Tuesday. And I don't know what this is about here. The Art of Living program is Tuesday the 21st through Thursday the 23rd. Teacher is Shreya Shah. Timing is 6:30 p.m. to
Yes,
8:30
yes,
p.m.
you know what that's about. You've met Shreya Shaw before,
Yes,
right?
yes, the
Art of
breathing,
living. Yes,
very, very
right.
critical. And the Zahirita Portico Lower Kabibi, and the phone number is 0729913056. Again, let me repeat that. 07291305556. And I am urging you, Shaw was on the show 2 weeks ago, and she gave us one short mini technique, and I am telling you, it was awesome. And so if anyone is able to sacrifice and pay to attend that workshop, I highly, highly recommend it, because it teaches you that your nostrils is the gateway to life, and that you,
Very well.
if you're able to utilize your breathing to control your mind, then you're able to have more control over your life. And we did the exercise, and I was able to relax, and we were at peace. And when you are at peace, and when you're relaxed, and when you're not stressed, you're able to, your blood pressure drops automatically, and you're able to think
Mm-hmm.
more critically and be more in tune with the Holy Spirit, wherein you may hear the messages that are being given to you.
Mm-hmm.
We're living a stressful society. Stress is the number one killer in America. And so I highly, highly recommend this class to everyone. And I'm hoping I can take it in New York or somewhere. My phone number for the diabetes support class is 1+1 346 244 7887, or you can messenger me, or you can visit Herbalist Educator with the African Bird of Paradise logo, and there you will find the link, but you will not find the code. The code can be accessed through Queen Mother Dashanaba or myself, because to protect you and to protect the group. We cannot have the entire global population dropping in on the group. This is a private group, and whatever you discuss within the group remains in the
Stays.
group. It's a peer support group. We are
Okay.
supporting you and all others, including the caregivers, if they wish to come, to support them and to arm them with more information, so that they would be a better caretaker, would improve their skills
Very well.
in caring. Thank you so much, Queen.
I think we have one more announcement. No?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, let me make announcement of the Landmark Forum. The Landmark Forum. Have you taken any Landmark Forum work?
I heard about the Landmark Forum, and is that writing grants? Is that about grant
No.
writing? Okay, then
No.
it's something different.
The Landmark Forum is a 3.5 day intense training. And what happens inside of the Landmark Forum is you really get to know. And if I could describe it for you, it's like taking a pair of eyeglasses or taking a pair of shades and putting the shades over your eyes. If the shades are tinted, then when you look through the eyeglass, everything you see will be tinted the color of the lens. Is that right? Okay, so there then, the technique and the beauty of the Landmark Forum is it gives you the chance to distinguish between when you're looking through rose glasses in life and when you're not. It gives you the power to know that distinction for yourself. Because sometimes we don't know when we're looking through rose colored glasses. We just think the whole world is like that, but it's not. So I would strongly recommend that you consider taking the Landmark Forum course. I'll have to find out if you can take that course out of America. It's coming up on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, February 24, 25, 26. And then again night. And you come back for 3 hours on Tuesday evening. And when you return on Tuesday evening, it's a whole nother many people don't even know themselves anymore. Can you imagine how much training that is?
Queen Mother,
8 o'clock in the morning.
could you repeat that because it was breaking up a lot.
Landmark Forum in Nairobi, Kenya. It's a virtual February 24, 25, 26, and 28. The phone number to register for the Landmark Forum is 0722 782 997. Once again, 0722 782 997. Or you can go to info@landmarkkenya.com. info@landmarkkenya.com. So those are our announcements for today. And all of these are programs, each one of them, whether you're going to the peer support group, or whether you're giving blood, or whether you're going to Blissipline, or whether you're going to Landmark. All of these are, if you will, self-help type programs. And that's what we propagate to you. Continue to tune in. We've reached the hour of ending the show for today. We thank you very much for those of you who have tuned in. And coming up next week, we will show you episodes from the Women in Politics series, and we'll also talk about two African Americans, all right, that are living into the theme of Black history, which is Black resistance. And we'll find out who they are, how they resisted, and if it's possible to know their method. What did they do to make it work? Again, thank you for tuning in to Bonga Dada Bonga. You can get us every Thursday live at 7 p.m. Kenya time, 11 a.m. New York time, just by going to facebook.com/Bonga Dada Bonga. I want to give a shout out to Teresa Kemp, who is our other correspondent on the Bonga Dada Bonga show. Her daughter has given birth, and so she's being a new grandmother right now. And we wish her lots of love, and lots of luck, and stay dry. Stay as dry as you can. Any closing words, Coach?
This has been a very interesting episode of Bunga Dada Bunga. I appreciate sharing the platform with you, and everyone remain safe, alert, and breathe.
Thank you. This is Bonga Dada Bonga. Bonga Dada
Bunga
Bonga.
Dada Bunga.
Bonga Dada
Bunga
Bonga
Dada
Dada
Bunga.
Bonga Dada Bonga. Bonga Dada Bonga.
Bunga
Bonga Dada
Dada
Bonga.
Bunga.
Bonga Dada
Bunga
Bonga
Dada
Dada
Bunga
Bonga
Bunga
Dada
Dada
Bonga.
Bunga.
Bonga Dada Bonga. Bonga Dada Bonga.
Yeah.
Bonga Dada. You know, we had so much fun trying to come up with our name impact. And I believe have gotten